Tonight, online predators, real-world harm.
Their stated objective is not ideological change, but the destruction of society.
What parents need to know as police issue a warning about shadowy online groups targeting children. Also tonight.
And now they're saying we are not covered from flood.
Why some Manitobans are suddenly finding out their insurance doesn't cover flood damage and how a provincial program might help. Plus, World Cup fever.
Amazing moment. There is nothing like a World Cup at home.
How Winnipeggers are getting in on the action as Canada makes history.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
From online coercion to real-world violence. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A dark warning from Winnipeg Police tonight about online extremist groups targeting children. And a warning, some of the details in this story may be upsetting. CTV's John Hendricks is standing by live to explain. John, what are police saying about these groups and how they operate?
Marilee, authorities describe them as nihilistic, violent extremists, and some have been labeled terrorist entities by the Canadian government. But unlike most terrorists or extremist groups that you've probably heard of, we're told that these groups are not motivated by a desire for ideological or political change or even financial incentives. Rather, they seek the corruption and destruction of society itself.
It really is the belief system that there's no value in life. There's no morals. Basically, why bother?
Police say predators are combing online platforms for children who express some kind of vulnerability, perhaps problems at home, loneliness, body image issues, or struggles with mental health, potentially even neurodiversity problems. Then they fabricate a shared experience to build false trust and slowly introduce victims to increasingly violent material to desensitize them. Victims are eventually coerced in committing harmful acts against themselves, siblings, or pets, providing sexually explicit material, or a number of other harmful or dangerous activities. They are also sometimes forced to live stream these acts. Police say the perpetrators are ultimately aiming to make children take their own lives or the lives of others. Constable Claude Chancey explains some of the signs that caregivers should watch for.
Number one, unexplained injuries, markings, or signs of self-mutilation. Sudden withdrawal from family or longtime friends. Secretive or distressed behavior around device use. Exposure to disturbing content or unfamiliar online contacts. And finally, changes in mood, language, or expressed worldview.
Chancey says that predators are using common social media and gaming platforms such as Roblox, Minecraft, Snapchat, Discord, Telegram, and others to search for potential victims.
So, John, why are police issuing this warning now? Was there a local incident that spurred this?
Marilee, police say that they're talking about this now because it's actually a global issue that's getting worse. And they added that because it begins online, it's not an issue that can be restricted by borders or geographic regions. But that being said, police were pressed repeatedly on whether or not there have been any victims or perpetrators identified locally. Now, they refused to divulge any details, citing ongoing investigations. But Constable Andrea Lafort did have this to say.
We are seeing acts of violence that are happening in real life that are originating in online spaces, sometimes involving people locally.
Now, police say that they're not trying to start a panic, but that it is a serious issue that parents and caregivers should discuss with their kids. If you have any information about a child being targeted or victimized, or if you yourself are a victim, you can contact the Winnipeg Police Service or Crime Stoppers, or you can report it through cybertip.ca. You can also find more information by visiting the Winnipeg Police Service's website.
All right, thanks for this, John. Residents of an area dealing with disastrous flooding are rolling up their sleeves to offer shovels and helping hands. Families in Stony Mountain and Stonewall are still dealing with the aftermath of Tuesday's ferocious rainstorm. Every day since then, dozens of community volunteers have been filling hundreds of sandbags and going door to door sandbagging for strangers. Part of the crew is a local couple pulling people out of risky situations.
You know, we have some houses where they can't even get out of the house. They can't get their car out of the garage. They can't, like, we're Friday now, so on Wednesday we were actually pulling cars out some of the garages. The water was up to the windows.
Stephen Green says they are just one of many local businesses offering their services for free to folks in need. He's encouraging residents looking for sandbags to head to Stony Mountain Community Center at 117 School Road. Well, as Manitobans continue to clean up after this week's storm, some are learning things are worse than first thought.
This is how high the water was in our garage.
Tara and Darcy Richardson are trying to salvage whatever they can after their home in Stony Mountain flooded during Tuesday's storm. From overturned shelves to drawers filled with water, the couple continues to discover something new at every turn. But one of the most unexpected and unwelcome discoveries came when they filed a claim with their insurance company.
When you're paying for insurance, you want your home protected from fire, from flood, and from theft. And now they're saying we are not covered from flood. It was floating.
The Richardsons have learned overland flooding is no longer included in their insurance coverage, while others have minimal coverage in their plans. The Insurance Board of Canada tells CTV News insurance providers began offering overland coverage as an add-on to standard home policies in 2015. But not everyone may realize or have added it. And even with the coverage, the limits for repairs, cleanup, and yearly policy costs can differ.
So those people that are in really high risk flood hazard areas, they may have lower limits or the actual coverage might be costlier.
And in very high-risk areas, coverage may not be offered at all. The Premier has said some affected Manitobans will be able to access funds from the Disaster Financial Assistance Program. The Richardsons are still waiting to see what help that will cover. The province tells CTV News the program offers extra support for those who are underinsured or facing financial hardships and helps with uninsurable damages, response costs, and targeted recovery supports. Applications can be made through the province's website. Manitoba Hydro has nearly finished restoring power to all customers affected by those powerful storms which began Tuesday. The Crown Corporation says all but roughly 100 customers across southern Manitoba have had their power restored. Now, in some cases, crews are actually conducting planned outages so they can safely repair damage and remove trees and branches. Early this morning, tree branches caused a new outage in Winnipeg's Windsor Park. It affected about 330 customers and was expected to be taken care of by this afternoon. MPI is struggling to keep up after thousands of drivers were dinged by Tuesday's storm. Manitoba Public Insurance says around 20,000 claims have been filed so far. It's hoping to roll out a plan soon to deal with the demand. For now, it's asking folks with vehicles that cannot be driven to call MPI directly. Claims for damaged but drivable vehicles must be filed online. And those needing glass repairs are being told to visit an MPI accredited auto body or glass repair shop. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at tonight's Skywatch forecast. Looks like more rain being tracked.
Yeah, after what has been a disastrous week weather-wise, it's still raining, but at least the conditions aren't as serious, to say the least, as they have been throughout the week. But still, an unstable air mass over the province tonight, scattered showers, strong winds for now, and chilly overnight lows. I'm talking single digits, and a cool start to the weekend here in the south before we start to warm up a bit. We still have an awful lot of rain coming down in parts of northern Manitoba. We'll take a look at that as well. But for now, let's take a look at through the CTV Live Eye. It's brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. In Winnipeg right now, it's cloudy and it's just 15 degrees. It's also very windy. Winds out of the west-northwest at 27 kilometers an hour with gusts up to 37. The pressure is holding steady and the humidity right now merrily is 65%.
Thanks, Colleen. A huge volume of untreated wastewater was released into Winnipeg rivers following this week's storm. According to the city, 6.8 megaliters of wastewater spilled into Winnipeg rivers since Tuesday. That's enough to fill Pan Am Pool nearly 3 times. The largest and longest spill happened at the Woodhaven pumping station on Assiniboine Avenue. The city says it never got a power failure alarm, so for roughly 19 hours, 2.6 megaliters of raw sewage was dumped into the water. The city has reported the incident to the province. People driving through St. Boniface tonight will have to make an unexpected detour. The city has suddenly shut down a portion of Marion Street for emergency repairs. City crews have now blocked off Marion in all directions between Archibald Street to Panet Road. Officials say it will remain closed through Sunday. The city tells CTV News in the course of doing other work on Marion, they found an issue with a catch basin and the surrounding pavement. It determined the best course of action was to do the repairs as soon as possible. During this shutdown, you can access the area by driving on Dupuy Avenue. It's a historic day for Canadian soccer. The men's national team played its first FIFA World Cup game on home soil. And while fans in Winnipeg will need to travel east or west to see the action in person, the excitement over the global event is alive and well in Manitoba's capital. CTV's Daniel Helmerson reports.
Forward, played through towards Kyle Laren! It's Kyle Laren with the goal!
An exclamation mark in the first FIFA World Cup game played on Canadian soil. Kyle Laren's tying goal in the 78th minute against Bosnia-Herzegovina, earning the men's national team its first points in its third World Cup appearance. And in the lead up to the historic match, World Cup fever was building here in Winnipeg.
Very cool. I think I'm really excited.
Thomas Watsky popped into Royal Sports Friday afternoon to pick out an Alphonso Davies kit from a sea of red, white and black Canadian jerseys.
I really like him, and he's our best player, and he's been our best player for a while.
Royal Sports staff say it's been a busy few weeks with fans from all 48 countries competing in the tournament, stocking up on jerseys, hats and soccer balls.
You know, such a diverse city and country, you want to make sure that everyone has something they can get from their country and just kind of support.
Fans have been flocking to the flag shop in South Osborne too. And while the Maple Leaf reigns supreme, the shop's Matthew Hobson says other countries' flags are also flying off the racks.
We see a lot of people buying a Canada car flag with, maybe a country where their family history is from. So, Canada, Portugal, and they'll fly one on one side of the vehicle and one on the other.
And over at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue, Canadian supporters settled in for the afternoon match alongside Winnipeg's own Desiree Scott.
Amazing moment. There is nothing like a World Cup at home, and to be able to be in Winnipeg celebrating the beautiful game, bringing communities together here at Boston Pizza, it's awesome.
Scott, who played in 3 Women's World Cups and has 3 Olympic medals to her name, says nothing beats representing Canada on the world's biggest stage.
I think anytime you put on that red and white jersey, you're thinking, how can I go out there and put out a performance that we can be proud of, that Canadians can rally behind and get excited about.
Daniel Helmerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The province is taking another step to make hospitals more secure. First Nations safety officers are being added at St. Anthony's General Hospital in the Pas, and more institutional safety officers are coming to Winnipeg hospitals. In a release, Health Minister Yusoma Asagara says later this month, institutional safety officers will be deployed at Concordia Hospital. It's not known how many officers will be put there. However, Asagara says they will be working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. ISOs will also be deployed to Seven Oaks Hospital by June 15th. The province says it's deployed more than 130 institutional safety officers to hospitals across Manitoba since 2024. The added security is something Manitoba nurses have been calling for. 3 hospitals across this province have been gray-listed by the union due to ongoing unsafe or inappropriate working conditions. A Winnipeg man found guilty in the 2024 killing of a local restaurateur in a deadly parking lot brawl has been handed a 7-year sentence. 40-year-old Curtis Delbozic was found guilty in February of manslaughter and uttering threats in connection to the death of Kyriakis Voyajakis, the 51-year-old owner of the Cork and Flame restaurant. The pair came to blows in the early evening of January 24, 2024. Referencing video footage presented at court, the judge said it became clear during the attack Voyajakis could no longer fight back, having lost consciousness. But Delbozic continued to assault him. She also said the number of strikes to Voyajakis' head made life-threatening injury objectively foreseeable. She noted Delbozic expressed remorse and offered condolences to Voyajakis' family, suggesting some prospect of rehabilitation. With time served, his remaining sentence amounts to about 3.5 more years. An annual North End block party was canceled this week over safety concerns. Inner City Youth Alive hosts the event in front of its building every year. But as CTV's Jeff Keel shows you, the founder says violent crime fueled by drugs forced them to pull the plug.
Entertainment, face painting, even a dunk tank. This annual street festival in the North End is a big hit, but this year it did not go ahead as scheduled.
We had to, have some real sober second thoughts on it.
The block party was set for Thursday, June 11th. It happens here in front of the organization that hosts it, Inner City Youth Alive. A notice to the community 2 days ago said it was being put off because of weather. Inner City Youth Alive founder Kent Duick says rain was a consideration, but crime and safety were the main culprits for canceling the event.
We've had a woman, sorry for being blunt, running around with a hammer naked, taking swings at our kids.
And on Monday night, there was a homicide across the street from their building that one of their staff members witnessed. Duick feels the number of violent incidents in the area is up over last year. Even though they provide security along with police and other agencies, Duick says they couldn't guarantee the safety of the 1,500 or so people who normally attend.
As good as we are at creating order, addiction is always better at creating chaos. And that's sort of the story of our city these days.
Area Councillor Ross Seedy is disappointed the block party was scuttled.
It's just really sad that they can't run a street party there.
A member of the Mayor's Inner Circle, Edie believes the city needs to put more money towards recreation for kids to prevent addiction and crime.
The grants that we give to organizations doing that stuff, it's been reduced. And we can't do that.
Duick says if things turn around over the summer, they might try again for September. Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
If you're in the town of Lorette, you need to be aware of the water. A boil water advisory has been issued after a distribution pump failure Thursday. The RM of Taché says the pump failure resulted in a loss of water pressure, which, quote, can compromise the safety of the water supply. Now, if you plan on drinking water, making ice, prepping food, or brushing your teeth, don't just turn on the tap. The water needs to be brought to a rolling boil for at least 1 minute before using. As for washing dishes, doing laundry, or bathing, no boiling is necessary. But young children or those unable to avoid swallowing water in the shower or bath should be sponge bathed instead. The advisory will be in effect until the pump failure has been fixed. Residents will be notified once it's lifted. Still to come, the Prime Minister's diplomatic tour of Europe lands in France.
I would like to commend you, President Macron, for the decisive action that you are taking.
What the two leaders discussed and where they agreed to work together. That's next. Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil lost $2.83. The loonie closed the week at 71.55 cents U.S. Gold futures jumped $124. The TSX added 266 points. The Dow Jones gained 353 points, while the Nasdaq rose 79. Statistics Canada says Canadian households are continuing to fall further behind, with debt growing faster than income for the sixth straight quarter. In the first quarter, seasonally adjusted household borrowing, which includes consumer credit, mortgages, and other loans, totaled $35.5 billion. That's up $1 billion from the last quarter of 2025. Elon Musk is officially the world's first trillionaire as shares of his rocket company, SpaceX, take flight with the largest initial public offering on record.
Give SpaceX less than a 10% chance of succeeding at all, to be clear. In fact, I told people this. I said, look, we're probably going to fail, but we should give it a try, because if we don't, if there's not a new company that enters space, we will never be a truly spacefaring civilization.
Musk celebrated the milestone by remotely ringing the NASDAQ opening bell along with SpaceX employees in Texas and New York. The CEO owns more than 40% of the company, which analysts valued at nearly $2 trillion U.S. even before it surged past the $135 launch price. A Hamilton, Ontario man who was charged following a W5 investigation has pleaded guilty to 21 charges. He admitted to raping and drugging women and recording and sharing videos of the assaults. CTV's Judy Trin has the details.
Busted! Brian Hayward was arrested at a Tim Hortons drive-thru in Hamilton, Ontario in May 2025. A CTV W5 investigation revealed he was part of a global network of predators who drugged their unsuspecting wives and girlfriends, raped them, then uploaded the videos to the internet. This week in court, more than a year after his arrest, Hayward pled guilty to 21 offenses related to 7 women. He was convicted on multiple counts of sexual assault, surreptitiously recording victims and sharing intimate images.
It brings a little bit of accountability and a little sense of justice to see that the legal system is working for these survivors right now. But for survivors, we know that healing isn't linear, and then we know that healing is a long journey.
Hayward's ex-wife, Chelsea Davis, watched the court proceedings over Zoom and gave this statement to CTV News. I feel relieved knowing that some of these women will be spared having to testify and relive what happened to them in a courtroom. No guilty plea can undo the harm that was done, but hearing those admissions matters. Hayward was initially charged with 60 offenses related to 14 women. Some of those charges have been dropped, others have yet to be prosecuted. Hayward is also accused of working with another Hamilton man to assault women, and he's also facing a sexual assault charge in Calgary dating back to 2015. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The suspect in a mass shooting in West Texas is dead. A 45-year-old man began firing at police and bystanders in Midland, Texas. 1 person died and 10 others were injured. The shooter then barricaded himself inside an abandoned veterinary clinic, where he died after a standoff with police. The man was already wanted by police for firing at officers during a chase days earlier. Prime Minister Mark Carney is overseas again, first to meet with French President Emmanuel Macron. It was a crucial meeting ahead of the G7 next week, hosted by France. CTV's Mike Le Couture is traveling with the Prime Minister in Paris.
Prime Minister Mark Carney and President Emmanuel Macron were looking for areas of agreement ahead of the G7 summit in France. As Carney moves Canada closer to the European Union, the 2 leaders agreed to more collaboration on artificial intelligence and safe social media.
I would like to commend you, President Macron, for the decisive action that you are taking to protect children online.
And the 2 leaders agreed to do more on intelligence sharing. They're also both using strong language when describing the geopolitical instability.
Nous constatons que l'ordre international est fragmenté.
We note that the international world order is fragmented, says Macron, an echo of Carney's speech in Davos, where the Prime Minister called on middle powers to work together as the world's hegemonies become more aggressive. Now, Canadian officials who briefed reporters ahead of the G7 summit warned it could be difficult to get consensus on issues like a critical mineral value chain or government intervention against online harms.
The presence of Donald Trump is something that always leads to possible controversies. Will people get actual FaceTime, including our Prime Minister, with Donald Trump?
Now, Carney and Trump will have some FaceTime, but it's unclear if it'll be a full sit-down meeting. While getting a consensus could be difficult among the 7 leaders, Carney doesn't think the group is fracturing.
I mean, there'll be some issues where there are strongly held views by one of the G7 partners that, are more extreme than others. And I'm not saying just one. I mean, each of us may have examples of that.
In French, Prime Minister Carney was even more specific, saying he doesn't believe it'll turn into the G6 plus the U.S., a statement that could be tested at next week's Leaders Summit in the French Alps. Mike Le Couture, CTV News, Paris.
The Carney Liberals have announced a national food security strategy. It aims at giving Canadians more access to locally produced fruit, vegetables, and other fresh items at lower prices. The plan is intended to change the way food is bought, sold, transported, and distributed. The government says the strategy will be backed by more than $3 billion in investment over the next 10 years. It includes $1 billion for infrastructure, including food terminals and hubs to help independent grocers compete with large retailers. The idea is to make it easier for them to buy from farmers and food processors. Back here in Winnipeg, 1 person is in hospital tonight following a fire at a North End home. Crews arrived shortly after 4 Thursday afternoon to find smoke and flames coming from this single-story home on Magnus Avenue. An interior attack was launched and the fire was declared under control in a half an hour. 1 person was assessed by paramedics at the scene and taken to hospital in unstable condition. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Some special guests helped dedicate a Winnipeg street this afternoon.
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
The Albanian and Kosovo ambassadors to Canada were on hand for the street naming in the new Sage Creek North neighborhood. Dardania Drive is named for an ancient Roman province which included much of what is now Albania and Kosovo. Replica street signs were later presented to the ambassadors. A motion to add the street to the names list was made by the area councillor in 2024 following a request by the Albanian Canadian community.
I begged my parents, I'm like, can we please do this? And they're like, okay, let's do this.
They may not be playing in the World Cup, but a pair of local athletes are still getting ready to hit the pitch in front of a global audience. That story when we return.
Very cool for them. Speaking of cool, it is a little bit now for sure, more than a little bit, and it'll be that way tomorrow. Once we get to Sunday and the start of the long-range forecast, we start to heat up. Low 20s throughout the week, a little bit below normal for this time of year. Normal for Winnipeg now is about 23 degrees, but Sunday through Tuesday, 21, varying amounts of sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud. 20 Wednesday, there's a low chance of showers, but we'll still get some sun, a mix of sun and cloud again on Thursday. A little bit of a cooler high of just 19 degrees.
The World Cup is now in full swing. Canada's first match of the tournament in Toronto ended in a 1-1 draw. While this is a big moment for the country, being one of 3 host nations, it's equally special for a pair of Winnipeg teens who will get to be front and center on the world stage. CTV's Devin McKendrick explains.
Was it Aiden Liam Miller?
Both Aiden Carasoni and Cristiano Morey dream of playing high-level soccer when they're older, but they won't have to wait long to take the pitch at a World Cup game, as each has been selected as an official match ball carrier for the month-long tournament.
I begged my parents, I'm like, can we please do this? And they're like, okay, let's do this.
I'll be whacking the ball out in front of the refs and the players, and all the fans will be looking at me at the start of the game.
It wasn't by chance they got this opportunity. The two had to rely on their soccer skills to get them here. Along with playing soccer, they each play futsal, a soccer variation that is played indoors with a heavier ball 5-on-5. It was their futsal coach who managed to get them tryout spots in Edmonton to show what they're made of.
His skills it's incomparable, like Aiden and Cristiano. They're both very good on the ball, feel very comfortable playing. They're smart players. They know when to dribble, when to pass the ball, when the decision making for them is very, very good.
Following the tryouts in Edmonton, they were 2 of 25 kids from across the country that were invited for a national audition in Toronto.
It feels great. You know, I'm here as part of his overall soccer journey, and for me, it's helping him realize his dreams, and that's what it's all about as a parent.
From those 25, it was whittled down to 7. They got to represent Canada in LA for a futsal tournament and are now ball carriers for the World Cup.
Super exciting. It's unbelievable. It's like a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing.
My heart was racing. I had so much adrenaline in me. I was just undescribable.
Morey will be bringing the ball out on June 17th in Toronto at the game between Panama and Ghana, while Carasoni is slated for July 2nd in Vancouver for a round of 32 match. Devin McKendrick, CTV News, Winnipeg.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady back now with your complete Skywatch forecast, and it looks like we're in for a cooler weekend than we've seen as of late.
At least to start, sure. We'll warm up on Sunday in the sunshine too, but temperatures still a little bit below where they ought to be for this time of year. So that heat that we had several days ago, that's not coming back anytime soon, which may be a good thing for folks. Other folks I know enjoy that heat. But this is what we're contending with tonight. The sun-settled weather pattern continuing over southern Manitoba, bringing scattered showers, some pretty strong and gusty winds from the west and northwest, and overnight temperatures tonight that will drop into the single digits. Yes, we're approaching the middle of June. Next door, northwestern Ontario, much the same. Even stronger showers moving through some areas. You can see it's a little bit more intense, those showers passing to the east of Dryden. Now, we did have rainfall warnings that were in effect for much of the northeast and as far west as Thompson. Those rainfall warnings have been knocked down, but the rain will continue. The low responsible for all that rain you see on the the Futurecast is basically just stalled out over the region. So still anticipating a lot of rain will have fallen by the time this rain event ends by Sunday, and that will continue. The rain that will sweep across much of northern Manitoba and central regions tonight and down here in the south as well. This is a pretty big system. You can see as we get into tomorrow morning, there's a good chance, a good possibility that we'll see some rain come through the Winnipeg area. A lesser chance out in the southwest. You'll get some sunshine first in the northwest before the sun will arrive as we get into the afternoon. Further south around Brandon and the surrounding areas, we won't see much of the sun here tomorrow in the Red River Valley or the southeast. A little on the soggy side, even further east into northwestern Ontario, and you can still see that rain most concentrated up in the northeast part of the province there. But as we get into the evening hours, that's when we'll clear out across much of the province, except for that area still under the influence of that circulating low that just doesn't want to budge. We get into Sunday, the sun shines on much of the province, and the temperatures start to warm back up here in the south into the low 20s throughout the day. So for tonight, yeah, down to 9 degrees tonight. Rain showers and strong and gusty northwest winds for much of the night and into tomorrow morning. A lot of people taking part in Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation's Challenge for Life. Just be prepared for the possibility of showers. It looks like a pretty good possibility. Just 10 degrees around 8 a.m. 14 in the afternoon. Yeah, that's our high tomorrow with those gusty northwest winds continuing. The UV index for Saturday for the city is 4 or moderate. Showers continuing tonight all across the northeast under that low spinning around overhead. Windy too, with some pretty strong and gusty winds from the northwest. Thompson, you will see some sun in the afternoon after the rain ends. 15 there. The rain will continue across the rest of the northeast. In the northwest tonight, rain will end first in Lynn Lake late this evening. Then overnight for Flin Flon and the Paw. It will continue into tomorrow morning for Norway House. Then you'll brighten up in the afternoon, 17 degrees there, but Lynn Lake, Flin Flon and the Paw, you'll see the sun shine much sooner on the way to highs in the upper teens. In the southwest tonight, Brandon, Neboa, Dauphin and Swan River all down to just 7 degrees tonight as those showers and strong northwest winds continue. Clearing in the morning in Swan River up to 19 there. Dauphin, Neboa and Brandon all up to 17 degrees. There's a chance of showers in the morning. Otherwise, it will be a cloudy start to Saturday before sunshine in the afternoon. Winnipeg in the southeast tonight, we have those intermittent showers, overnight lows between 8 and 10 degrees and those strong gusty northwest winds. Good chance of showers tomorrow, cloudy in the afternoon, highs 14, 15 degrees, 13 closer to the Ontario border and into Ontario tonight. Overnight lows again, single digits with the showers continuing there and into Saturday as well with highs of just 12 and 14 degrees. After a tough weather week, a lot of folks spotted rainbows over Winnipeg yesterday, including Annette, who said that we might be able to find that pot of gold here in the city. And this next photo is from Jennifer. There's actually a double rainbow, if you look closely there, standing out on the Assiniboine Golf Course here in Winnipeg as well. Send us your weather photos by email to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
It can have a serious impact on a person's life and career. We're now learning just how many adults are living with social anxiety disorder. Which groups are most affected next in Medical Watch. Nicotine pouch popularity is skyrocketing among young Canadians. According to new data just released, 1 in 3 say they've tried them. Rob Cunningham is the senior policy analyst for the Canadian Cancer Society and joins me now to discuss. Rob, good to speak with you.
Good to speak with you, Marilee.
This sounds like a significant uptick in usage being reported. Are you surprised by these numbers?
Well, surprised, but extremely concerned. A dramatic increase in 4 years from 8% to 36% every use among a young adult group. More current use from 1% to 8.5%. It's becoming a new way, a new product category leading to the onset of nicotine addiction for younger Canadians.
Do we know why young people are turning to nicotine pouches? What's the draw?
Well, I think there's a number of factors. It doesn't have the social unacceptability that cigarette smoking does. There are more people using it. There's no excise taxes the way you do for cigarettes, and it can be discreet. So your parents or your teachers may not see you using it. So there's a number of factors. And I think the core one is that it's the tobacco industry that's behind the marketing of these products. And they've been very aggressive, and they know how to get new customers.
What risks or dangers do these pouches pose for users, particularly those at a young age?
Well, we're seeing that very significantly, is that it is not former smokers that are using these, but people who have never smoked. And so there can be addiction for life, not only the financial costs that could result, but health effects, including switching potentially to vaping or to smoking. Our decline in nicotine use in Canada has ended. It's now going up, especially among young people, and because of vaping products and now nicotine pouches, we need to have governments respond.
Yeah, that brings me to my next question. What restrictions do we have in place for these products in this country, and are they strong enough?
We now have restrictions on the advertising, packaging, labeling, and flavors for these product categories. Initially, Imperial Tobacco had this lifestyle advertising featuring happy young people in a social setting or in association with sports, just like classic cigarette lifestyle advertising of the past. That's gone. But now they have to be sold from pharmacies only from behind the counter. We strongly support that. But Imperial Tobacco is lobbying very hard to allow them back in convenience stores or gas stations. That would not be the right way to go. It would make them more accessible among those who have never smoked. Products like nicotine gum or the patch that you put on your arm, those are essentially sold in pharmacies. So it makes sense for this product to be available in pharmacies only.
Makes sense when you put it that way, Rob. Thanks so much for your insight and time tonight. It was great speaking with you.
Thank you, Marilee.
A new study from the University of Toronto suggests nearly 1 in 7 adults are affected by social anxiety disorder. That rate is up 71% since 2002. The condition is characterized as a crippling fear of being judged or embarrassed in social situations and can degrade quality of life and career progression. Social anxiety disorder was found to be more common in women, those who were born in Canada, those who never married or were widowed, separated, or divorced, and those who experienced childhood sexual or physical abuse. It was also 4 times more common in those between the ages of 20 and 24 compared to people aged 65 and older. Well, the warmer weather is here, and that means for some people, skin conditions or rashes, which can be itchy and painful. Mandy Gaither explains.
It's the downside of summer: sun exposure, sweatiness, and clogged pores.
We tend to be hotter, a little sweatier, and doing activities that cause friction.
Dr. Spencer Dunaway with the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center says those factors combined can cause skin conditions to flare. The first common summer skin problem he sees is acne. Dunaway says it's important to wash sweat off before it dries and to change up your moisturizer for the summer.
Switching your nighttime cream to something a little less thick will be less likely to cause you to have an acne flare, but still provide enough moisture to protect the skin.
Next, dry, irritated skin. Dunaway says people tend to over-exfoliate. Using a light moisturizer can also help this problem. Third, folliculitis, or inflammation of hair follicles, which can lead to a rash. Avoid it by wearing looser clothing and washing off sweat from skin. Fourth, melasma, which causes dark, discolored facial patches. Sun exposure, pregnancy, and taking birth control pills can raise one's risk of this condition.
Protecting yourself with strong SPFs, even higher than what we'd normally recommend, such as SPF 50, is really useful for people that are on birth control pills or might be pregnant during the summer.
Finally, heat rash. Dunaway says it's the body's alarm system that a person's overheating.
So if you start to notice these prickly, itchy red bumps on the skin, especially on a really hot day, that's an important sign to cool yourself off. Seek shade or either get in some water.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
Not 1, not 2, but 4 local groups are in the running for the Polaris Music Prize. Those details next in Spotlight.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting the Northern Pikes and Barney Bentall.
The Polaris Music Prize has announced its 40-album long list, and 4 Manitoba artists with connections to the province have made it onto it. award-winning artist Begonia was nominated for her most recent album, Fantasy Life, making it her third nod. Another repeat appearance on the list is Jay Wood, whose music spans hip-hop, soul, and funk, is nominated for Leo Negro. Long-running punk band Propagandhi has made the list for the second time with their 8th album, At Peace. And Boy Golden, an alternative country singer, has cracked the list for the first time with his most recent album, Best of Our Possible Lives. The list is selected by an independent jury of more than 200 music critics, curators, and broadcasters across Canada. The winner will receive a $30,000 cash prize. The list will be further narrowed down to a 10-album shortlist on July 9th, and the award will be handed out on September 22nd in Toronto. Well, here's a look at just some of the events taking place in Manitoba this weekend. The Red River X returns for another year of fun. Niverville hosts its annual fair. The Lundar Fair has horse shows, a tractor pull, fireworks, and more. Fan favorites Fred Penner and Al Simmons hit the stage at Kids Fest. The Manitoba Reptile Breeders Expo is on in West St. Paul. The Lieutenant Governor invites you to a levee on the lawn at Government House. Say hello, summer, at the Winnipeg Beach Community Day. The St. Joseph Museum hosts the Montcalm Heritage Festival. Pride Winnipeg may be over, but the celebrations are not done. Pembina Valley Pride is on in Winkler for the first time. You can also find Pride parades and activities in Brandon, Selkirk, Gimli, Dauphin, Winnipegosis, and Neepawa. You can find a full list of events this weekend on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. The Rady JCC's annual Festival of New Yiddish Culture wraps up this weekend with a highly anticipated performance. The Klezmatics are set to bring their blend of traditional and contemporary music to the stage at the Crescent Arts Centre tomorrow evening. One of those defining voices in the klezmer revival, the group blends folk, jazz, and contemporary sounds for a soulful yet electrifying performance. At last check, there were still tickets available. Just head online to radyjcc.com. Your Friday primetime lineup starts at 7 with Spring Break Murders. Crime Scene Investigators comes next at 8. And at 9, catch Boston Blue. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
Let's do this!
Still ahead, we bid goodbye to a very special person who's been helping Manitobans get their day started for more than a decade. Stay with us.
Women's clothing provided by R.W. & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Tonight, Canada's big moment on the global sporting stage. Played through towards Kyle Lowry! It's Kyle Lowry with the goal! Team Canada's World Cup run kicks off in Toronto. The reaction and the road ahead. Later on CTV National News and watch on Craig.
It looked warm there in Toronto. Here in Winnipeg, not so much. Showers and 15 degrees. A little windy, too, with the winds out of the west-northwest. 27 kilometers an hour with gusts up to 37. 18 was the best we could do today. The record high for this day set back in 1893, a while ago, 32.2 degrees. Tonight, more showers down to just 9 showers. Quite possible Saturday. If we see some sun, it'll be late in the day. Mostly sunny Sunday, back up to 21. 21 Monday, Tuesday, a mix of sun and cloud. Chance of showers Wednesday, merrily 19 on Thursday.
Thanks, Colleen. Well, before we go tonight, we want to take a moment to acknowledge the outstanding work of our dear colleague and friend, Terry Gale, whose last day at CTV News Winnipeg was actually today. Terry has been a staple of Manitobans' mornings ever since that show launched 15 years ago. And we're going to leave you tonight with a taste of some of the special memories she's made over the past decade and a half. Good night.
I did work a 9-to-5 job way back before I got into this, and it was terrible. 3 o'clock came around and I couldn't function. Like I said, sitting in a desk, not my bag. So I like to get my day started with a bit of a bang and a fast pace.
Let's do this! Yeah, baby! I found the finished shoe! And my flowers, my goodness, did they ever feel the heat? I just came out here. I got it. It's all I'm saying.
CTV Morning Live.
I stand on the rooftop every morning to do the weather. Not a bad start to the day. I'm not holding an umbrella. My hair looks like it's just falling nicely.
Now we have a big announcement to make on the show. In fact, it's not my announcement to make, it's Terry's announcement to make.
Thank you. Yes, after a lot of thought and a lot of emotion, I've made the decision to wrap up my time here at CTV.
Terry, what's the weather looking like this Friday and heading into the weekend?
Yo, I'm going to tell you what you want to know. We got a chance of seeing a little snow, and it's coming down outside right now.
And if I thought that I was going to ride out my last week on autopilot, my goodness, Mother Nature had other plans for me. I really thought that I was just going to kick back and sit this one out. LTI and Chrissy showed up as me. I showed up to coordinate with Rochelle today.
I think it worked.
Yeah, right?
Terry Gale Appreciation Day.